Hi, I'm Sylvia with Sylvia's Odyssey, and I left YouTube for a while, as you may have noticed if you've been a longtime subscriber, and I felt the urge to come back. I was told it's time, and a lot of us are being redirected right now, and I wanted to share what's been coming through. And so today is March 1st as I'm filming this, and we are being blasted. There's a lot of energy coming in and it's all good. Think of it as the scene from the movie Arrival of when she's walking through the detox corridor and she's getting like sprayed, cleansed. It's a purification. So it's like we're walking through that corridor of the cleansing, of the purification, and releasing the old stories, the old beliefs, the old whatever it is that got us to this point, the vehicles that we used to propel us to where we are right now, all of that is being released. And that energy coming in is like a shower washing it away. And so if you look at it that way, there's no, because you can make the mistake of looking at it as a punishment, as like, oh no, my favorite toy is being taken away from me. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is the old thing, the old vehicle, whether that's a job, a relationship, whatever, the old mission, the old assignment, because I believe we're all on divine assignment. The old assignment has expired, and now you have earned a new assignment. And so a lot of us have been are manifesting in the dream state, and we're picking new characters, new people to be in this new book, because it's not a chapter, it's not a new chapter, it's a new book. It's a new you. It's a higher octave of the real you. It's the real you. So all the fake stuff is being removed. It's being washed away, and it can seem really scary. I mean, it can seem scary even when you do know what's going on, but more scary if you don't know what's going on. And so my intention by sharing what I've been collecting and observing is to put your mind at ease and hopefully catalyze new awareness in you. And I would love to hear your insights in the comments below. Please share, and please share this with whoever you think it would help, because that's my intention. I feel like we each help each other to go up the ladder, so to speak, and we can't do it without each other. So that is my intention. So I took a lot of notes, and I will just be referring to the notes because I don't want to forget anything. And if you have any questions, please post below. I would love to hear from you. And as I'm being guided to basically come out of where I've been. And so a lot of, like I said, dissolving of limiting beliefs, purging density. And so think of it like when you're in school, right? So say you're in 5th grade and you're going to graduate to 6th grade. You don't need those books anymore, right? So you empty out your book bag, you take out of the math book, all the books, everything that you use, your old notebook that you don't need anymore, whatever, crayons, everything. You're just taking it all out, and that's what's happening energetically, and we're releasing it. So you're giving it back to the school, you're giving it back to the teacher, you're throwing it away, and it's like that sorting process. So another vision I got is the scene from the movie Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey, where he's in the Tesseract. So the Tesseract is like the way they show it with him in that movie is like timelines. It's a choice point, and all the timelines are at his fingertips, and he's trying to communicate with the youngest version of his daughter in another realm, in another time, and he's using the Tesseract to pick the perfect timeline to access her. So in that moment, in that Tesseract, he has access to all space, all time, all versions of her, young, old, all versions of himself, young, old. And that's where we are. We've been there for a while, and we're choosing what parts of us to bring forward into the next evolution of ourselves, and who's coming. So it's like a renegotiation of contracts, and everybody has their sacred yes, their sacred no. They can opt out. There's a lot of people choosing not to proceed further to the new game, and so they're leaving. And it might be shocking and jarring to the physical self that perceives things as finite, as like, oh, death and you cease to exist. No, you don't cease to exist. You're an infinite being. But people get to pick whatever they pick, right? So you can't force someone to love you. You can't force someone to evolve. You can't force someone to grow. It's a higher version of them that's choosing to see if they're ready, if they can handle the next evolution, or if they would benefit further from staying in 5th grade, so to speak, just to use a metaphor to help you understand a little bit better. And so basically it's an initiation. We're in initiations. It's kind of like to see where we actually are, and to see if you're ready for certain things. So it's kind of like whatever you've been asking for, or whatever work you have done on yourself thus far, for everybody. And I mean, unbeknownst to them even, because you don't have to be aware that this is happening for it to happen. Like gravity doesn't care if you believe in it or not for it to exist and for it to do its job, right? And so that's how everything is. It doesn't need you to agree with it. It just is. And so basically, it's kind of like an audit, like an energetic audit. And there's a Cloud Atlas, from the movie Cloud Atlas, quote that comes to mind that says, "Our lives are not our own. We are bound to others, past and present, and by each crime and every kindness we birth our future." And so it is like a tallying up of your crimes, your kindness, your how much healing you've done on yourself, and what has expired. And we're all woven together, right? So it's like, okay, there has to be an alignment with people. And so that's where the renegotiating of contracts comes in. So like, not everybody is gonna choose to go. Not everybody qualifies to go. And so it's basically like there's a recalibrating, a renegotiation, everybody at a soul level, seeing where they're at. And I mean, some of us have done more work than others. Some of us want to go higher. Some of us don't want to go higher. And everything is perfect and okay. It doesn't mean that you lost, or that, that they're broken or hopeless. No, everybody has their own syllabus, so to speak, of what their soul came to learn, what their soul came to experience, what their soul came to teach you. And everything is being renegotiated. And so something that's really helpful right now, and that I invite you to use, is Ho'oponopono, to clean up the energy within you and within others. And so if you're not aware of what Ho'oponopono is, So I will try to find a link and place it below so that you can research it further. And so basically what you say is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you for forgiving me. And so there's variations of that too, because, if you look at life like everything begins and ends with you, and it's your reality that you're projecting outwards, and you're here to learn, you're here to grow, you're here to heal and evolve. It starts and ends with you. And so your perspective is huge into what is manifested before you, right? And so another version of the Ho'oponopono is, I'm sorry for my perspective of you. I'm sorry for whatever it is in me that created this in you. Please forgive me. Thank you for forgiving me. I love you. And basically, like, you're free. You're free to go. I forgive you. I release you. You're off the hook. I forgive myself. I release myself. I'm off the hook. And a lot of times we think it's about the other people, but really it's about ourselves and our younger self, our baby self, that we think because we were told that it's all our fault, right? Kind of like we developed this Stockholm syndrome of, to survive, right, as a child, with your abusers, your captors, whoever. It's like we think, oh, well, mommy's perfect, daddy's perfect. And you have to think that because your food comes from them, your protection, your shelter comes from them. So it can't be them. They're wonderful. They're amazing. I'm the broken one. I'm there's something wrong with me. I got to fix me. And so you talk yourself into that, and it's not true. I mean, obviously they're wounded, hurt people. And, it keeps the karmic wheel going, and you stay on the toxic, abusive merry-go-round. And like the goal is to heal that. And so how can you do that? By scrubbing the energy clean. Imagine like a sponge with soap, and you're washing it off. You're clearing out all the density, all the karmic looping with the Ho'oponopono, with your intention. And just saying that, imagining, people that you feel have wronged you, or like, that you're resistant to that, just saying it, like you're off the hook. There's like this freedom. I feel it in my solar plexus and my sacral of like, like, I'm free. You're free. Like, I don't have to fight with you. Putting down the sword. And so I invite you to do that. And obviously that's a process, because I mean, some wounds are fresher than others. And as long as you're willing, anything is possible. And you have to be in that willing space, ready to forgive, ready to let go. It doesn't mean that they were right for whatever horrendous things happened. And I mean, I get it. I have endured a lot of abuse and a lot of betrayal, and I get it. But there comes a time when you're ready, when your soul is just so hungry for that. And so, give it a shot. It might do the trick. And I do see energy being washed and cleaned with that phrase. If you sit quietly in meditation and imagine yourself, and like, that's how you cut cords too, is you forgive the person. You're basically unhooking them. You're letting them off the hook. And for them, for them to proceed to go wherever it is they need to learn next, whatever it is they need to experience next, like, hey, that's none of my business. Go experience whatever you need to experience. If you need to suffer and you choose to suffer, okay, like, who am I to keep you from your suffering? Go do that. But I am no longer entertaining that, and I no longer have the need to be abused anymore. And so, like, if you still feel like you need to abuse people, go look for that somewhere else, because I am not participating in that anymore. And so I feel like it frees us. Well, I mean, it does free us. So if it helps you, please use that. And another thing is, healer, heal thyself. So we need each other. We lift each other up. And so a lot of times by watching, YouTube videos, TikToks, whatever, it's just a reminder sometimes it's new information, but a lot of times we already know this stuff. And it's a reminder of who you really are, of what's really going on. And it helps. So if you have information, if you have stories to tell, if you have something to share, please do it. I highly encourage you to speak, open up that throat chakra. For a long time, there was a lot of darkness here, and myself included, I did not feel safe. I did not feel safe to share, to speak, to be seen, to be heard. That time is over. We're not there anymore. And I think that a lot of the times there's this PTSD that lingers. And the only way to show yourself that it's not true, because fear is an illusion, it seeks to multiply, it seeks to tell you whatever it is it needs to tell you in order for you to fall for it, because it wants to keep growing and it wants to spread to others. And so you can choose to shake hands with it and agree with that, or you can say no and get off the toxic merry-go-round. And so making room. So with that analogy of us walking through that hallway or that portal of being cleansed, being purified, we're in the Tesseract, and we're being shown. So as this energy comes in and blasts us, it's bringing up all the stuff that you can let go of. It's showing you what's there. So it's just highlighting, triggering, and showing you, hey, this belief is here. Do you still believe that? Do you need this? And so there's a lot of things we can't take to the next evolution. 5D, whatever you want to call it, the new earth, there's lots of names, but it's basically just the next, like I said, the next book, the next movie, your new movie, the new you, the highest version of you. And so surrendering old to make room for new and better suited to who you are and who you're becoming. So you can't take that stuff with you. And so imagine if you're moving out of where you live and you're just going through everything and you're finding stuff you even forgot about, of like, oh man, I didn't even know that was there. And it's not to punish you. It's not to scare you. It's actually showing you how powerful you are, because you have the power of choice. You get to pick. That's how beautiful and amazing this is, that you can pick. You can pick how you respond. You can pick to do something, to choose. You can choose the same, or you can choose different. You already know what the old choice leads to, right? Because you've lived it over and over and over. But you can choose different. Whether that's responding, not responding, thinking about things before you respond, and not just reacting from the wounded state, right? And then also having compassion for yourself and for other people, and remembering that they're fallible, they're human, they're also wounded, and they're also triggered by you. And remembering that we're basically all just doing the best we can. And I mean, some of us are using coping mechanisms that are not helping. It's the illusion of help. So maybe that's drugs, maybe that's alcohol, maybe that's watching too much news, watching too much dark stuff, or scary movies, whatever, fill in the blank, that lowers your vibration, and not balancing it out with something that raises you up. And basically everything's frequency, right? Everything's frequency, everything's vibration. And the key is not to negate the dark, because it's necessary, it's important. You can't have the dark without the light. You can't have the light without the dark. So they need each other. And so nothing is like, off limits because anything in excess can hurt you. So like you can drown by drinking too much water. It can hurt you. Just like you can get diabetes by eating too much sugar. It can hurt you. So too much of anything is not good. So the key is to be balanced, in equilibrium, in harmony, and looking at with an objective eye, right? Where am I imbalanced? Where am I leaning too far to the left, too far to the right, whatever? And seeing, okay, what steps can I take to bring me back to center? The goal is to be in neutral, detached curiosity. Get out of your own way. Allow yourself to be guided by your divinity. Your divinity is the highest version of you outside of all space and time. And so we are co-creating. You know, manifestation is a big thing right now. But if you just, you know, like the mistake that I've made in the past myself is thinking I know better than God. And so, oh no, I want this job, I want this partner, I want this, whatever, fill in the blank. And like thinking that that is the only way, that's the only job, that's the only person, that's the only whatever, and that then I'll be happy. Well, it's not true, because we live in infinite, it's infinite. The possibilities are infinite. And I was in my own way. I was in my own way by being stubborn and clinging, you know, with a death grip on what I wanted. No, it has to be him. It has to be this job. It has to be this way. Then I was blocking out all the other possibilities. And I was hurting myself. And I didn't know that until, you know, falling on my face 100 times. And then like, oh, don't do that. That hurt. That was really painful. And now, you know, with the benefit of experience grows wisdom, and seeing like, oh, I see what I did wrong. And I mean, it's just an invitation. You could take it, you could leave it, but I invite you to learn from my mistakes, because you know, they say the highest form of wisdom is learning from other people's fuck ups and not having to repeat it yourself of like, oh, when they did that, this happened. I'm not going to do that because, yeah, I don't want to fall on my face. And I mean, it doesn't mean that mistakes won't happen. We're human and we're just doing the best we can with what we have and at the level that we're at, right? And it's constant, never ending, right? And so basically, I invite you to get out of your own way. Allow yourself to co-create with your divinity, the highest version of you outside of all space and time. And, you know, a lot of times every day I surrender and ask to be shown, please bring me the right next step, perfect for me. And, you know, turn down the volume on the distractions. Please help me to see clearly with extreme clarity beyond the veil of illusion, beyond the veil of fear, beyond the veil of trauma, beyond the veil of pain. And, you know, asking to understand. So claiming, I understand now, I get it. I'm now seeing the perfection of all that is, because in hindsight, you know, they say hindsight's 20/20. We live life forwards, but we learn backwards. And so seeing how even the most horrible things that have happened have led to somewhere amazing, and that really everything's a blessing. And so now, through all the things that I've experienced, I see that everything blesses me. And because everything's a conduit of God, and God is infinite, and God uses everything to bless me. So I claim that. I claim myself as blessed. I claim the favor of God over myself, over my life. I invite you to do the same. And everything is ultimately a choice. You have the choice. And I invite you to let go of the victim mindset, because You know, there's and I'm probably going to butcher this, but there's a quote by Henry Ford that says, if you think you can do it, you're right, you can. If you think you can't do it and it's impossible, you're right, it is. And, you know, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly how the quote went, but basically, whatever you choose, yes, you're right, because you are co-creator of this reality, and you can be in your way or you can be out of your way, and you can allow the divine to come in with you, and you do it together. And so basically, I'm smart enough to know that I don't know. And when you don't know that you don't know a lot of times. And so I bend the knee to my divinity of like, okay, I know that I thought I knew back then and I didn't. And so I surrender. Like, clear the path, show me the way, and bring me the right next step. So basically, sometimes we get overwhelmed with all the choices, but you only need to focus on the right now, right here, right now, because that's where all your power is, right? The past is an illusion, the future is an illusion. All that exists is right here, right now. So if all that exists is right here, right now, in this moment, ask your body, ask your divinity. We're all holding hands. That's the goal, to be in alignment with your body, your physical vessel here in this life, and your divinity, and all of us working together on the same page, and to our goal, to our soul's calling, what we came here to do, what we came here to experience. And you can have fun. You get to have fun. What? No, it's not all suffering. We get to have fun. We get to love. We get to laugh. We get to bless other people. And I have found that is the quickest way to activate that energy. Is you want to laugh, make somebody else laugh. I guarantee you that you'll laugh. You want to have fun, you bring it. Be the vessel, be the conduit of love, of joy, of fun. It doesn't have to be all, you know, hard and struggle. And suffering is caused by resistance. Resistance to what is creates suffering. Also, resistance, right? What you resist persists. And so that's also how you let go. Because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, just let go, let go. Well, how do you let go? You let go by accepting what is in your face right here, right now. Okay. Yeah. And guess what? You don't have to like it. I don't have to like it. I don't have to want it. I don't have to agree with it, but I accept it. Okay. This is what it looks like. This is what it is. Knowing in any second, anything can change like that. It can change. But you have to get out of the way. Get out of the way. And so I invite you to use that lens, and know it's perfect. Whatever it is, you can't mess this up. And it's life. Your life has a GPS to it. And if you veer off the course of what you came here to do, you will be rerouted. So you can enjoy, you can relax, listen to your body. If your body needs to relax, honor that. Go in nature. Nature is so helpful. There's so many codes from the sun, from trees, from plants, animals. Go outside, commune with nature, absorb the codes, ask to receive whatever's available in the perfect way for you. And then also ask for assistance. Moving your body is really helpful right now too, to remove the old that we're releasing and bring in the new and integrate it. And if you need to take a nap, please take a nap. Drink lots of water. Feed your body. If your body is asking you for something, you know, sit in and like see if that's true, or if it's just if you have to like check and discern, use your discernment, because sometimes, we're so trained to think things are bad, like, oh no, sugar's bad, oh no, dairy's bad, and just labeling things bad, meat is bad. And like, there's all these programmings and templates out, and they're just beliefs. And this week actually, a couple of days ago, I was craving dairy, a lot of dairy. And, there's a lot of talk that dairy's bad, blah, blah, blah. And so I was resistant to eat the dairy. And so finally I relented and I ate the dairy. Oh my God, there was such a relief from my body. Like, it was exactly what my body needed. And I had been so resistant to it. And it's like 3 days in a row, dairy, 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 dairy. And I did not understand it consciously, but I was just listening to my body and giving her what she needs. And then my son, who's 16, comes home from school and he's ravenous for dairy. And he says, I don't know what it is, but I need yogurt. And he's just scarfing the yogurt down. And then he's like, oh, it was so good. And you see, that was my validation. And I had been resisting with my conscious mind. No. I'm not going to eat dairy. Dairy's bad. And being on the vegan bandwagon. No, I'm listening to my body. I'm not anything. I'm not claiming any labels. I'm not vegan. I'm not vegetarian. I'm whatever my body needs. That's what I am. And there's no label. So if my body needs eggs, I eat eggs. If my body needs fish, I'll eat fish. Whatever in that moment. And I never know what it's going to be. So now I feel like I know we're somewhere else where it's like, get out of the way and just allow yourself to receive. There's no limits. And that is so exciting, because we came from a place where all there is was limits, and now there is no limits. And only what you allow, only what you agree to. And so I'm finding over and over and over, I'm seeing of more and more validation of the rules that apply to other people do not apply to me. And it's just louder and stronger now. And so I used to think, oh, so-and-so is still in my life. I guess that means I'm not evolved, I'm not ascending. That's not true. I can see them, but they can't access this version of me. So I used to think, oh, just because I can see them, just because they're in my story, that means XYZ. That's not true. No. And so it's kind of like, if you think of, just for a metaphor, because that's all that's coming to mind right now, is think of yourself as a ghost, right? So think of a ghost, right? A ghost is haunting a house, and that ghost can see you. And sometimes you can feel the presence of the ghost, right? They move something, you feel cold, whatever. You can feel them, because I can feel them when they sit on my bed. And so, or I hear them speak, or I'll get a glimpse of them. And so if you think of yourself as a ghost, right? That idea of they're in another dimension, in another realm, but I know of them and they know of me, but not completely, because it's fuzzy, right? So using that analogy with myself and the other people that are being phased out of my life. So there's a lot of endings right now, and don't let that scare you. Be excited on the new doors that are opening. And I invite you to play with that. Get excited when you're first waking up in the morning, and when you're falling asleep at night, you're in the theta state, which is the hypnotic state. And I do QHHT sessions. If you'd like to book a quantum healing hypnosis technique session, I would love to work with you. And so that's the energy, that's the state that we're seeking in QHHT, is we're seeking the theta state. And in that state, you can access all levels of your being. And it's infinite, any choice, whatever you want. And it's working together with your divinity. And so I invite you, don't focus on what's leaving, because remember, it's a vehicle, it's a blessing, it's blessing you, and you don't gotta like it, but it's blessing you for the new that's coming in. And it's kind of like a blind curve, like you can't see what's up ahead. And honestly, it's because you haven't made the choices yet. So basically, the choice of just taking the first step, of making the decision and taking the leap, that brings the new timeline, that brings the new people, that magnetizes the new characters, the new opportunities. And I invite you to be open and receptive to new and better. So it's not just that it's new, it's better, and to new and better versions of you. And you can literally have whatever you want. And another thing that's coming up is like the idea of time, and time is just a collective agreement, but you can step outside of time. And we don't completely, I know I don't completely understand time. And what I've been shown is sometimes when I think, oh, okay, I'm going to start a diet, I'm doing this diet and it's going to take so long. Or when you start a training program and you're learning something new and you're like, oh, it's going to take so long. And my guidance is constantly saying, that's not true. Why do you think that? It's just a belief. That's not true. You can literally wake up and you finish the training, you know it. You wake up, you're skinny, you gain weight, whichever way, whichever way you're going. And I have jumped timelines so many times. So I mean, it's crazy that I have to keep getting reminded also. But that's why I feel compelled to share with you, for whoever out there needs to be reminded. There's no limits, only the limits that we're agreeing to, only the limits that we have placed upon ourselves. And leave room for like spur of the moment opportunities, and be ready to jump. So what's coming to mind is in the QHHT training, Dolores Cannon talks about, she had a client that came to her that really wanted to know what happened in life. She wanted to know from her divinity what had happened to her, where she was on a dark country road one night. It was like 11 p.m. at night. She's driving home, not a soul in sight, pitch black, and she's on a country road. All of a sudden, boom, her car crashes into something on the side of the vehicle, and it knocks off the mirror, the side view mirror. And so she stops, pulls over, checks to see, what did she hit? Did she hit an animal? Like, what happened? Because there was nothing there. It's just her, and there was nothing there. And she never knew how. Okay, so how does the side view mirror just get knocked off? And so in the session, she finds out she hit a portal. There was a portal opening that she was going to drive into, and her team thought, oh, she made a different choice. She can't go down that chute, down that timeline. We have to move it. And so they moved it, and it was in the nick of time where she was driving through, and they wanted her to go down a different trajectory because she had opened up a new choice point by whatever decision she made, whatever action she took. Every action, remember, by every crime and every kindness, we create our future. So every choice, butterfly effects into the new, whichever way you want to go, up, down, for lack of a better word. I mean, there's no mistakes, but like, we're seeking to be better at all times. And so whether that be an understanding of like, oh, I see my part, because I know a lot of times that I thought the partner that I was with was super toxic. And then in hindsight, I see, okay, yeah, they were super toxic, but so was I. And owning that and seeing like, oh, I could have responded differently. And like having compassion for them and that version of me of like, I didn't know any better, but now I know better. And now I can choose different. And now, and thanking that person for helping me to see what I couldn't see by myself and being grateful. And so again, everything blesses me. Every partner has blessed me, and I'm so grateful for all of them because they just brought me closer to myself, to the real me, and the true potential that I have. Because I think a lot of times, I know for me, where we limit ourselves of you think you can't do something. And again, there goes that quote. Okay, if you think you can't, you can't. But if you think you can, you can. And how exciting that is, that everything boils down to a choice, the power of choice. And oh my God, how amazing is that? We get to pick. We get to pick in every moment. And it's okay to feel your emotions and not like something, or to be afraid, but feel the fear and do it anyway, because that's how you expand. That's how you grow. Activate your courage, activate your bravery, and you will grow and you will surprise yourself. And when you go up higher by making a new choice, that butterfly affects into, oh, well, now you earned all these opportunities. What do you want? What do you want to pick? And we are constantly being presented new opportunities, but it's up to you to be brave enough to say yes, because some of them are disguised. And really, how else can you be initiated? Because if you knew the answers, well, I mean, we'd all get it perfect. And that's not really a true gauge of your progress, right? Because it's kind of like when you think everybody's watching, that's not the real you. You'll perform, right? So, oh, I'm a good person, I'm going to choose this because that's the right answer, that's what everybody wants to hear. But in the dark, behind closed doors, what do you choose? And that is who you really are. Not when there's an audience, not when you're alone and it's just you and God. What choice do you make then when nobody's watching and you think you can get away with it? But really, we don't get away with anything, because it's our own divinity monitoring us, because we came here to grow. And I believe that's what karma is. It's just you calling you out and reminding you who you really are. Like, you're not the version of you that cheated. You're not the version of you that lied. That's not the real you. All these agreements that we make with entities and attachments and the trauma, they're just here to show us, just like the people, of what you're choosing to be, where you're choosing to stay. But you don't have to stay there. That's the good news. And sometimes it feels scary. It feels really big. And so I invite you to focus on the good. And the more you focus on that, it will grow. You'll amplify it, because, you can either look up at the sun or you can look down at the dog shit that's on the ground. You can move your head. You can pick. And so that's beautiful to me. And so I hope this helps, and I would love to hear from you. And I will be posting more content, and I'm happy you're here. Thank you for coming. Bye.